Welcome back to the Oral Health Podcast. So, we're bringing you some bite sized discussions on different oral health topics. Now, I'm sure with things like back to school, prices going up, as we all know, saving money is on everybody's mind in September, I think, especially. So, with it being Savings Week on our social media, where we've been showing you different ways to save money in your oral health routine, we actually thought it would be good to have a little discussion about it. So, Karen and I are just going to sit down and have a chat through really the cheapest you could do your oral health routine and still be protecting your health. And, some of the marketing around these oral health products making you think you need to spend 10, 20, 30, £50 on a tube toothpaste and toothbrush really is just that. It's marketing, really, isn't it, Karen?
It is, yes. I mean, at the end of the day, we all are susceptible to these marketing uh, adverts that we see, and we can get sort of sucked in. However, there are very simple ways of looking at our oral health. We need a toothbrush that is fit for purpose, and we need a toothpaste that contains the optimum amount of fluoride, and an interdental brush that will clean in between your teeth, and a mouthwash if you want to use a mouthwash. Not everybody does. So there are certainly ways of doing it. For example, a toothpaste, we're all kind of looking at these whitening ones and desensitizing and gum health, and there's so many different ones on the market. If you don't have one of those particular problems, you don't need to pay for that active ingredient. So if you don't have sensitive teeth, don't spend extra buying a set of desensitizing toothpaste because you don't need it. I mean, I've been trolling through and having a look at toothpaste, and you can get a toothpaste for 15p a tube. It's a small tube, but it contains the optimum amount of fluoride, and that's what we're looking for, between 1350 and 1500 parts per million. Now, you can go to any supermarket and pick up. Normally, they are their own brands, and you can pick up and have a look how much fluoride is in it. If that's if that's the one thing that you need in a toothpaste, just get that, and you'll save a lot of money there. Toothbrushes, again, you can get lots with, flexible heads, different shaped filaments, different sizes, different handles, characters on. You're paying extra for all of those. I mean, what we're looking for is a small to medium head. Don't have something that looks like a yard broom, because you're not going to get it round your mouth. So I would say, if we're talking about measurements, a couple of centimeters max, the length of a toothbrush, and maybe a centimeter for a child. You don't want them too wide either, because remember, you're putting it in a small space. Your mouth isn't massive normally, and you've got to be able to reach all the way round to the back teeth. So pick the suitable head size for the size of your mouth. Pick the type of filament that is suitable for your mouth. So if you've got sensitive teeth, get a softer brush. We wouldn't recommend using a hard brush, so only ever go up to medium, especially if you're somebody that scrubs their teeth backwards and forwards, which obviously we do advise that you don't do. Just small circular movements, so that you're not damaging the gums and the enamel of the teeth. Long, thin neck will help you reach the places that you didn't know that you needed to reach. Again, that's all you really need. And you can get packs, family packs of toothbrushes that are absolutely fit for purpose. So it's just a case of shopping around and seeing what's on the market, really.
You mentioned characters and things as well, and with children's products, I know they plaster characters on everything, but it doesn't actually add to the product, does it? It's just although saying that, you can always make the argument, I guess, like my daughter's son's going to be more motivated to brush their teeth
Yeah,
if there's a toothbrush with Bob the
I
Builder
agree.
or something on it.
Yeah. I mean, and motivation, if motivation is a problem, then you might need to encourage them with a particular character. But I have noticed that the supermarket's own brands are having a character that runs through now. So when you have the baby toothbrush and the baby toothpaste, it will have their own character. And then the character grows up on the 3 to 5 year
Oh,
toothbrush
that's
and toothpaste, and
clever.
then up to the 6 plus. Some even have like QR codes where you can go on and you can actually play a game as you're brushing your teeth. So you kind of get the loyalty to that character, but you're not having to pay the license fee for, Disney or whatever the character is. So that can be a familiar thing throughout their life. Their toothbrush has a particular person on it. It's not somebody they see on the TV, but it's their toothbrushing buddy, I suppose. So you can get that for that loyalty with that, and anything that's sort of brightly coloured and is nice for them to look at is great. And most of the kids' ones are. And as I say, you can have a look around. And again, needs to be a soft filament, needs to be a small head. And, you need to supervise brushing up till 7 years old anyway. So you're going to either let your child have a go first and then you do it afterwards, or vice versa, whichever works for you. I often find with quite a small child, giving them their toothbrush to use in the bath is quite good because you've got a captive audience and they're not running around with the toothbrush in their mouth, which is horrible. I mean, obviously, interdental cleaning is really important as well. And I've been having a look round, and there's some great interdental brushes out there. Certainly, we know the market leader. We've probably all seen the market leader. We probably all still call it by the market leader's name. But you can get them at least £1 off a packet, in all the colours that correspond to what your dentist or your hygienist might have recommended for you. So you can use those interdental brushes knowing that you're using the correct one, but also saving money at the same time. So there are some great interdental brushes out there. They do flossettes, they do floss as well. Lots of own brands. I mean, obviously, I've looked at the big five supermarkets and some of the chemists, and they all have their own brands. And, on our approved product list that you can find on our website, we do approve a lot of own brand products. So if you are concerned about the efficacy of the product, please have a look at our website and you'll see that the approved products have been through our rigorous system. So you know that you can trust them. Also, another great tip that I've just been finding is if you are an electric toothbrush user, which many of us are, you can get electric toothbrushes made by the supermarket. Not tried them. I've read some of the reviews. Some of the reviews are absolutely great. And you can get them for sort of between 10 and £15. So if you've never used a power brush before, it's quite a good introduction if you didn't want to pay a lot of money. You can have a little try for less money. And remember, you don't need an electric toothbrush handle for every member of your family. Just have a different head. Now, some of them will have different colours on them. If they haven't, just a little blob of nail varnish. So, you're blue and he's pink, or whatever the way around you're going to do it. And also, if you have got the market leader electric toothbrush, one that's more expensive, a lot of supermarkets will do replacement heads that will fit on your toothbrush. Now, you might need to check the model because they don't fit every model, especially the very new ones, but you may find that you can cut the price. I mean, I've seen them for as low as £7.50 for four,
Hmm.
which is significantly cheaper, especially when you've got a family of four that all need to change their toothbrush head at the same time. That could be a £20 outlay. Whereas if it's like 7.50, £10, that's so much better. And then you know that you've all changed your toothbrush together. So look into that as well, because that's really worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the fortunate things about working where we do is we have access to a lot of these higher end products. And I was very fortunate to be able to get one of the very high end toothbrushes that are run into the hundreds of pounds for nothing. My oral health isn't actually any better than when I was using a manual toothbrush because I took care of my mouth. So you can actually look after yourself using the cheaper options. Even, like an expensive manual toothbrush is cheaper than an electric. I mean, but the price difference in electric brushes is astounding. Like you say, you can get one for a fiver that's
Yeah, I
battery
mean
operated, or
you
you
can
can get
get
one
some
for a few hundred
battery.
quid.
I myself don't particularly like the battery operated ones, just for the fact that as the battery is wearing down, the toothbrush will become less effective. And obviously, by the time you keep buying batteries aren't cheap. You might as well have bought the entry level rechargeable. Um, Studies do show that electric toothbrushes are more effective than a manual toothbrush. A manual toothbrush used very well will brush as well as an electric, but we find that electric toothbrushes do reach more areas. And as I say, I think it's over 50% of the population are now using electrics. And also, there are ones for kids as well. So
Hmm.
those again they just run slightly slower, and you can get the heads, you can get the replacement heads for those as well, which is great. And a lot of people also want to finish off their oral health routine with a mouthwash. Nothing wrong with that. Some people like to use it, some people don't. Some people need a therapeutic mouthwash, sort of for gum disease, or they like to use a desensitizing one. Many people just use it as a cosmetic, freshen your breath, which again is fine if that's what you want to do. I would say ideally find one that's got some fluoride in it. And again, you don't have to spend a lot of money. I mean, I found one for 500 mils, which is half a litre, which is that'll last you some time for less than £1.
Hmm.
So, when you look at these things, and I'd like to say that you could just go to one shop, buy the whole of their range. You probably can. There's probably loss leaders in there. Certainly some of the lower price supermarkets are very reasonable, and you can get every part of your oral hygiene routine implements from there. So don't diss them just because they're coming from what would be seen to be a lower cost supermarket, because they do exactly the same as the big boys. They've got the same ingredients in. And as I say, don't waste your time on things that you don't need, because you I can't think of an analogy that would go with it. It's like you're overbuying something.
Hmm.
So it's like, getting on a bus and saying, I only want to go there, but I'm going to pay to go another 3/4 of a mile down the road just because somebody has said it's a prettier view or something. You don't
Yeah.
need to do it. So actually, that was a terrible
I
analogy,
know
but it's the
it's
only thing.
it's like getting on a train and paying for first class and not using it, and
Yeah,
when,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's if you want to do it, fine. If you are thinking, oh well, I can only afford to get the lesser I can only afford to get the no frills brands, am I going to suffer for that? No,
No,
absolutely not.
no, no, you're not. And I have to say, I don't use frilled brands. I myself, the same as you, we were given a very nice, very expensive toothbrush to use. I use that toothbrush because I was given it to use. I don't think I would have gone out and spent that amount on that toothbrush, but it's a very nice toothbrush to use. However, I'm not tempted by a toothbrush that uses an app to show me how well I've brushed. If you're a gadget person and you want that, or you think you need to be told where in your mouth you haven't brushed quite as well, then those are perfect for you. You go on the app. Um, I kind of like worry about expensive phones in bathrooms and water, but I know they're reasonably waterproof these days. Um, but yes, I think you have to buy what you need, and we cut our cloth, don't we? But
Hmm.
as I say, I don't overpay for toothbrushes, toothpaste, mouthwash. I
No.
just buy what I need, and you know, sometimes they're actually nicer, dare I say,
Yeah.
not so strong flavored and not uh so bad. But yeah, the only thing I couldn't find cheaper, and I absolutely love using, is a water flosser. and I couldn't find those. They don't seem to be as, obviously they're not as popular, so supermarkets are not copying them.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
they're not
for anyone
cheaper,
that
but
wants a cheap water flosser, I'd recommend Amazon,
yeah,
£20.
yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes, that one that middle of, and it rhymes with middle of.
Oh,
Sometimes they have them as well, and they're quite reasonable there.
but yeah,
Yeah,
always look out for sales and stuff if you want
yeah,
to get the
definitely,
the branded stuff,
definitely.
because I wouldn't pay full price. I think some of the leading water flossers are like up to £100. I would never pay that.
Mm.
I've got a £20 one from Amazon and it does me really well. But
Yeah.
that's me. Um, I'm a cheap person. I like saving money
I
where I
didn't want to
can.
say anything, Sophie, but I've been trying to be nice to you today as well, haven't I? I think I've succeeded. I've been very good.
You have been lovely to
Right
me.
up until almost the end there. Can't do it for the whole
Hmm,
podcast, but I did pretty well. But it's like when you go to the supermarket, isn't it? We go to the supermarket and we buy own brands of lots of different products without noticing the difference. And when you see these programs on the TV, when they're testing different things, people can't tell the genuine Coke from the supermarket's own in 95% of cases. So there's nothing to say we shouldn't do it with oral health products as well.
absolutely. And so just to recap, with a toothpaste, you're looking for fluoride as
Yeah,
your baseline. With a
yeah,
toothbrush, you want a small head and a long neck.
yeah,
And with a mouthwash, again, fluoride. And with interdentals, just make sure the sizes match up. And if you follow those rules, wherever you go, you can get the cheaper option completely
definitely. And your mouth isn't going to
self-conscious.
suffer for you
Yeah,
saving money. So you'll have more money in your pocket and a better smile.